On this Friday morning, it is already the 22nd day of August. I don't know where it went. And we've got a lot to do this morning. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news, we'll have open phones for that hour. At 11 o'clock, we will hear from someone from the Saginaw City SCDC about small business. But for this hour, we're going to talk sugar. And we're going to talk the great icon of a company around here, Michigan Sugar, with a couple of folks involved. First of all, its president and chief executive officer. We say good morning to Neil Junkie. Neil, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you today?
Great. Good to see you again. And with him is the senior director of communications and corporate and community relationship, and he is Rob Clark. Rob, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Your title gets longer all the time.
I know.
Just keep him busy, Neil, right? So, here we sit in a great sugar production area. And like everything else, weather dependent, disease dependent, weed dependent, you name it. I as a city kid, I always scratched my head, why would anybody go into agriculture? You really have to love doing it, don't you?
You do. It's a lifestyle, Art. And in many cases, 4- and 5-generation farm families that have been raising sugar beets here.
And they own it.
They do.
Because it is a cooperative. That's the way of the world, isn't it? In the
right.
Sugar industry, anyway. So I mentioned, disease and all that stuff and weather. So let's take them and take a look at how it's been for Michigan Sugar this year. Of course, you really won't know until you get them out of the ground, you slice them and do all those things. But how does the crop look this year?
Well, we have a very high potential crop this year, Art. We had a good planting season. Got a good stand count, which is the population of live sugar beets in the field. It got a little bit dry in July. That set the crop back just a touch. But these last 2 weeks we've had timely rains, a couple inches 2 weeks ago, and we just took our third yield sample, and we have the third best yield in 12 years at this point in time, and we have the best sugar content in our cooperative's history.
Really?
Yes.
And let me ask, because I'm so ignorant to these things, but my understanding is that sugar beets can stand up to a certain amount of dryness because they have deep roots. They have a taproot that goes down.
They do. Sugar beets the taproot can go down as deep as 6 feet. But an extended drought of more than 4 to 6 weeks, and they start to suffer. The leaves will lay on the ground, and when that soil is hot,
you can see it on the top of the ground then, right? You know it's happening.
Oh, yeah. Yep, you can see it.
Yeah. And you were surprised I knew that, weren't you, Rob?
That was very good.
So the weather held up pretty much. How about the disease side of it?
Well, on the disease side, the primary threat we have in sugar beets is a fungus called Cercospora leaf spot. It's a very aggressive pathogen, and our growers need to be very vigilant. They spray a fungicide on a 2 to 3 week schedule and keep that at bay.
So how does that affect the plant? I mean, if it's a leaf spot, and to us laymen, tells me it's affecting the leaves on the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect the sugar content of the beet? Does it transport itself into the beet?
Not so much, but the leaves are the photosynthetic engine of the plant, and so when the leaves die, the ability to make sugar goes with it.
So this could kill the leaves.
It could, yep. Mm-hmm.
And that would kill that particular plant, right?
Correct, yep.
And the last one, and we talked about this when we went on the air, weeds. We all fight those, but farmers are no exception, are they?
That's right, yep. The particularly troublesome weed in recent years has been something called resistant water hemp, Art. It's a very prolific.
Better remember the hemp family.
I don't know. It's more of a pigweed family, I believe. I'm not an agriculturalist, but it's developed a resistance to the herbicide we typically use with sugar beets, and so it's very difficult to control, and it's very, very prolific.
So you were telling me that the control is going to have to come after harvest for next year, right?
Correct. Yeah, the most effective control is what's called lay-by herbicides that are applied pre-plant, and they require a little bit of rain to activate, but they were very effective this year.
So, Rob, let me ask you for an overview of Michigan Sugar and how this cooperative has worked out for the owners, the farmers.
Absolutely. Michigan Sugar Company actually dates back to 1906. So next year we're going to celebrate our 120th anniversary. And with that is our Pioneer Sugar brand, which also dates back to 1906. So there's a really rich and sweet history, certainly in the Thumb and Great Lakes Bay regions of Michigan. We've been a co-op since 2002. That is the year our growers banded together with incredible courage and faith. I mean, they bought the company and really saved the sugar beet industry in Michigan.
Because the reality was that it could have gone bye-bye.
Absolutely. Yeah. The growers really are to be commended for the vision they had to save this company.
And two companies, Michigan and Monitor, right? They were
at the time there were two sugar companies in Michigan. Of course, Michigan Sugar and then Monitor Sugar Company in Bay City. In 2004, Monitor Sugar went up for sale, and their growers also had the vision to say, let's talk about a merger with Michigan and let's form one cooperative, and that's exactly what happened. And so since 2004, we've been a grower-owned cooperative. There's one sugar company in Michigan, and it's really a success story.
Neil, is that the way of the world in agriculture now, particularly in crops like sugar?
Well, in specialty crops like sugar, where it requires an immense capital investment to not only harvest the sugar beets, but to process them into a value-added product, absolutely. There's a lot of risk, and sugar beets can't really be sold for any other purpose. They have to be processed into sugar. Excuse me.
Yep. And one of the things that I know has happened in Michigan Sugar is you figured out how to use 100% of that beet, haven't you?
Absolutely. I mean, we like to say that our sustainability story is, second to none. We really work hard not to waste any part of the sugar beet. So, the byproducts that come from sugar extraction, especially the sugar beet pulp, it's all sold for livestock feed and for other purposes. And then, we make three kinds of sugar at Michigan Sugar. We sell the granulated sugar, the brown sugar, and the powdered sugar. So it's just a complete product across the spectrum.
And Neil, you talk about capital investment. You guys had to do some investing. You put up a new plant to extract even more sugar out of molasses, if I get it. Did I get that right?
You did, Art. Yeah. It's called our molasses desugaring plant. It was a $109 million investment that was completed last year.
That's a lot of sugar.
That's a lot of cabbage, yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break and come back, talk more with our guests when we return. They are from Michigan Sugar. Let me talk about Quick Lane Freeland on the McDonald Ford property. Quick Lane Freeland, of course, your one stop for all of your routine service and maintenance for your automobile. They also know that this has not been a good year for allergies. A lot of us have had allergies all season, and they want to help you while you're driving stay allergy-free. They have a product called FrigiFresh, and to learn about it, here's John from Quick Lane.
FrigiFresh. Hi, John.
Of your life. In retirement, you'll finally get to do what you want to do, but you have to plan for it. Start by tuning into Mindy and Nolan McIntosh of McIntosh & Associates every Sunday at noon for Wealth Michigan with the Mac.
And we are back with you on the Art Lewis Show. In studio with us, Neil Junkie. He is the president and CEO of Michigan Sugar. And Rob Clark with us. He is the senior director of communications and community relations. One issue when we talk to anyone in business today is staffing. and you come into your season and you hire a whole bunch of temporaries, if you will, seasonal employees, plus your full-timers, how are you doing in finding what you need?
Actually, Art, that situation has improved dramatically in the last 2 to 3 years. Yeah, we've 2 years ago negotiated a wage increase with our union, so our entry-level wages went up. I think we're paying just over $20 an hour now for an entry-level unskilled worker. And so we've been able to source adequate folks for all the positions we have. We also hire, we call them work campers. Most of the folks that work on our piling stations come from all over the nation. They're folks who live out of RVs. They typically work at maybe an amusement park all summer long, and then they come up to the Michigan to help us with the harvest for 2 or 3 weeks.
Gypsies almost, I mean, in a way, you know?
Well, a lot of them are very skilled people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they go off to Arizona for the winter. So,
Well, they're smarter than we are.
It's a really great program because the other part of that is we help find places for their RVs to park. So in some cases, we're keeping campground seasons going for several additional weeks, which is a great economic benefit to them.
So you brought up the pilings, and in the past, quite a while ago, the heat was a real issue. What's your forecast for the pilings this year in terms of weather and how it's going to impact them?
well, if you look at the Old Farmer's Almanac, that says we're going to have a colder than average winter, so that's what I'm rooting for.
50% chance.
Yep. We typically start full-scale harvest around the 20th of October, and we'll have it finished up by the 15th of November. So that's when we build the storage piles, and then we process those beets until about mid-March.
What determines early harvest? What determines that early slicing?
Well, early harvest is determined by our yield forecast. If we have a larger than average yield based on a good crop, we'll start a few weeks earlier than typical. Our normal start date would be right around Labor Day, but this year we're starting on the 27th of August.
So you will pull early then.
Yep.
And how do you determine which farmers, or does the farmer determine when they're going to pull?
Actually, we run that with a lottery. The farmers sign up for it, and it's a completely random lottery that they get drawn for which order they get to harvest in.
Because that affects delivery, right? That order of harvest is really the order of delivery, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yep. From August 27th to the 20th of October, we only harvest a few days of inventory ahead of our slice rate because the beets at that temperature just won't store very long. So we're just feeding the factories with a few days of inventory, and our shareholders harvest right on time.
So let's talk about investment. I mentioned the molasses plant where you're getting the extra sugar out of the molasses. But that's not the only thing you've invested in Bay City, is it?
No, far from it. Art, this past summer has been a big year for investing in the beet factory itself. In addition to the annual maintenance budget there, we invested an additional $24 million in capital improvements. Everything from structural replacement to equipment, strategic equipment replacement to economic impacts.
So you mentioned one of the things was to improve the beet slicing. How much improvement, and what does that mean to the output?
Well, we hope to get back to the standard. The Bay City factory can slice about 8,000 tons of sugar beets a day. These past few years, we've suffered from some reliability issues that have held us back to about 6,500. So about 1,500 tons per day faster beet slice. And what that really does is it shortens our campaign. We get to finish sooner in March. We get to clean up our wastewater and our the dirt that we clean off the beets. We get to clean all of that up quicker, and that has a benefit to the community.
And it also means that the beet piles don't last quite as long, right?
That's
Get
right.
to shorten those piles, huh?
We get to shorten the pile storage, which ultimately ends up in better sugar recovery.
All right, so let's talk about the sugar industry. Recently there was a big announcement. I think it was Coca-Cola or somebody said they're going to cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, is there a difference between a granular beet beet sugar and that granular of cane sugar?
Well, technically no, Art, but there's still a perception in some people's minds.
It is a perception thing, isn't it?
It is.
Because we always heard about, I mean, any time in the movies or anything, anytime you heard about sugar, it was cane sugar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I lived in New York City as a kid, and I heard about cane sugar. I didn't know there were beets. I didn't know that till I moved here.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think in general, people know a little bit more about cane than beets. Most people, if they didn't grow up around a sugar beet growing community, they've never seen a sugar beet. They picture the red table beet, which is a relative, but then you show them a sugar beet and they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
what is that?
What's that ugly little
I had
thing?
no idea. So yeah, that's an education piece, but all sugar that's consumed in the world either comes from sugar cane or sugar beets.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
There's nothing else.
That's correct.
And nobody's figured out how to make it artificially.
Nope.
And still how to call it sugar.
That's correct. We like to say there's a big difference between real sugar and artificial sweeteners.
That's sweeteners, but that's the key.
Yeah,
Sweeteners,
nothing beats real sugar.
Nothing beats
Nothing beats.
real sugar.
Thank you. Yeah.
Beat. The other thing I learned that surprised me, because my idea of what you did was you bagged sugar and sold it. The retail market is not the biggest part of your business, is it?
Actually, no. It's only about 35% of our business. About 30% is industrial that we say. That's 25 and 50-pound bags. Either powdered or brown or granulated sugar in that size bag goes to a typical bakery or a mid-sized company, food processing company.
By the trainload,
By the truckload mostly.
truckload.
And then we have bulk sugar that goes to industrial users. Some of the big, the global food companies that you would recognize, we supply quite a number of those, and we sell them train cars full of sugar.
I was going to say, because you do have train loading there, don't you?
We do.
You can load train cars in the factory.
Yes, we can load rail cars in our Seaboing and our Bay City factories.
So how many factories do we have now?
4.
Four operating, and they all do the same thing?
They all do the same thing, yeah, with a little twist on the back end of each of them. The Caro factory is our only factory that we produce liquid sugar, and a lot of that liquid sugar goes into things like yogurt and ice creams. Our Croswell factory bags 50-pound bags and bulk loads. Our Seaboing factory has a 4-pound retail line, and our Bay City factory has our big packaging and warehousing investment with 2-pound brown and powdered and 4-pound and 10-pound, all of the different varieties.
Just out of curiosity, since the byproducts are all the same everywhere, when those other plants, other than Bay City, produce their sugar and they have all that molasses, do they send it to the new desugaring plant?
That's correct, Art. 100% of our molasses from all 3 of the other factories all goes to Bay City for further processing. We extract the sugar out of that molasses, and we produce 2 additional byproducts called betaine and CSB. The betaine is a high-value amino acid that goes into poultry rations and cosmetics. The CSB goes into...
Great, goes chickens and cosmetics. Good.
Yeah. It's further refined, and
I would think.
it's in a lot of hair care products and cosmetics, but it's also additive to chicken feed rations in its more raw form.
And, just thinking of the expense, obviously then you're getting enough sugar out of that molasses desugaring plant to make up for the cost of transporting all that molasses and doing everything else with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really extracting quite a bit out of it then, right?
Yeah.
What would have happened before to all that sugar?
Well, we would have sold that molasses for a lot lower value, and it would have went into cattle feed rations. Would have all been sold as a value-added product, but just at a lower value.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back as we talk sugar on this Friday with our guests from Michigan Sugar.
Going on vacation? Go to...
And it's a question I don't understand, not being in the industry, but are you doing anything about the 100-year factory contract that grower owners, families, and next of kin are stuck paying for? So let's rephrase that differently. In the case of the passing of a contracted farmer who has shares in the plant and the ownership, what happens? What are the options for the family?
Well, most typically, Art, we have multi-generation farm families, and the shareholder contract just passes to the next generation, and they continue on. In some cases where there isn't that, there's nobody in the next generation interested in farming, then the estate can transfer those shares to other shareholders.
So they're not stuck with it.
No, they're not stuck with it.
And they have value, too. I mean, a farmer can sell shares, can he not?
Well,
Or not?
to be honest, the value kind of fluctuates. Sometimes it's a little positive, and sometimes it's a bit negative, depending on sugar price and market conditions.
It's like any other commodity, if you will.
Right.
All right. So we are about to head into harvest season. So what does the public need to know about harvest?
Yeah, thanks, Art. So harvest starts next week. It's our early dig harvest. So as Neil said, we're going to be bringing in enough beets every day to feed the factories for a couple days. We're not
Without piling.
We're not piling yet, but starting next week, people will see our farmer sugar beet trucks on the road. We have some unique challenges this year, especially in Bay City, and it's really being driven by the reconstruction of the Lafayette
I was
Bridge.
going to say, the bridges are going to come into this
Yeah,
conversation.
you knew bridges were coming up. So the Lafayette Bridge is it's the southernmost span that goes across the Saginaw
Closest to
River.
the sugar plants.
Closest to the sugar plant. It is really the main route that a lot of our growers use to get to the Bay City factory. That is closed. It's going to be closed through our 2026 harvest, actually. So the other things going on in Bay City are we have two toll bridges, the Liberty Bridge and the Independence Bridge, and then we have Veterans Memorial Bridge, which is the only non-tolled span. So we are really, we know that when our trucks get on the road for the next couple months, it's going to add to an already congested traffic pattern. And so we've been proactive in working with our partners at the City of Bay City. We've worked a little bit with the Bay City Bridge partners just to raise some awareness about where our trucks might be this year. And there are going to be some folks that might see trucks in areas where they have never seen them before, just because we're working to find alternative routes to the factory. The main place that's going to happen is coming off of Liberty Bridge. So our growers will pay a toll. They'll incur the added cost of going across that bridge, and then they're going to come up Midland Street to Euclid Avenue to get to our factory. That is not a route we have typically used in the past. And so we're doing some education with our growers, make sure they're aware of the routes. We're doing some education of the residents, making sure they're aware there's going to be trucks in the area. What we always say is sugar beet trucks are, a real thing. Don't follow right behind them.
Yeah.
Be patient. We are getting a very important crop to our factories and driving a very important economic engine in our community.
How many farms are involved in sugar beets?
Well, when you talk about farms, probably 350 to 400. We don't have an exact number. We have 860 shareholders, but if you think about a typical farm, Art, it might be two brothers that are farming together. It might be a dad and his son and a nephew that are farming together. So,
And they might be farming multiple farms, right? Multiple land.
oh yes, yep. Mm-hmm.
Are there, what's the term I'm looking for? Are there gentlemen farmers in the sugar beet industry?
There are not.
Not too much.
No.
There's no rental property, so to speak.
Well, there's land rent that
But that's straight rent,
straight rent, right? But
as opposed to farming somebody else's farm with your sugar beets.
that happens too. There's sharecropping, but that's just another form of land rent. But actually, to be a cooperative, Art, we have to certify that all of our shareholders are active farmers. There's no gentleman farmers that are not actively engaged.
All right. We'll be back. Talk more about sugar when we return. And we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show. In studio with me, the president and CEO of Michigan Sugar. He is Neil Junkie. And also with us this morning is the Senior Director of Communications and Community Relations. He is Rob Clark. Terry Henney, the farm director here, just stopped in and we were talking. And what does the Farm Bill mean to you guys, and why is it necessary to have it?
Well, the Farm Bill, Art, contains legislation that affects every farmer, from crop insurance to farm programs to FSA programs, across the board. Thankfully for the sugar industry specifically, the provisions that affect sugar specifically were included in the Big Beautiful Bill in July.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So you have your own Farm Bill.
Well, we have
Sort of.
We have our own special provisions. It's called the Sugar Program, and it's actually a title within the Farm Bill. We as an industry had worked together with the cane and beet industry, and we had proposed our 10 priorities 7 years ago, and we've been consistently supporting those. And thankfully, our D.C. supporters were able to get those provisions in the Farm Bill, or in the Big Beautiful Bill.
At one time, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, limits were placed on literally how much sugar you could produce and sell.
That's correct. That's called
And
the
it was-
marketing allotment.
And they were protecting import sugar. Has that changed?
No, that's still a feature of the Sugar Program, Art. It's
Has the number gone up? Can you produce more?
no, the number has not gone up.
But can you sell everything you produce?
We can. Those allotments are reallocated each year in May, and that was one of the provisions that we got into the Big Beautiful Bill. That reallocation of allotments happens in February now. So we have earlier security that we can sell all the sugar we make.
Have you ever, in recent years, reached a point where you couldn't sell everything you produced?
Not in recent years, and
Given the size of the crop and the sugar content this year, you'll liable to hit that point.
we don't believe so. No.
Oh, good.
And there's an interesting underlying reason for that, Art. The economics of sugar nationally have not supported sustaining all of the industry. There's a sugar beet factory that just closed in California. The Imperial Valley lost the Spreckels Sugar Factory. The year before that, the Texas cane industry closed due to a lack of water from a Mexican treaty issue. The year before that, the Sydney Sugar Factory in Sydney, Montana closed. So we've had a steady closure of factories that have been in more economically stressed areas. And as those factories close, that frees up more allotment for the factories that are left. And so it's an unfortunate story that the sugar industry has been suffering from difficult economic times nationwide.
A caller brought up something that you knew I was going to ask about, and we always hear the complaints about the odors around the factories. What's happening to mitigate the odors?
Well, the investment we put into the Bay City factory this summer will help us mitigate those odors earlier in the spring. Now, we do process millions of tons of vegetable matter. We cook millions of tons of sugar beets in order to extract the sugar. There's always going to be that sugar beet earthy smell during the processing season. That's unavoidable. What we try hard to mitigate, though, Art, is the little more pungent odors in the spring that come from wastewater treatment. And so by finishing the campaign sooner and reducing the amount of sugar that goes into the wastewater, we can wrap up that wastewater treatment campaign sooner in the spring and avoid those odors.
Is there a way to treat the wastewater?
There is. We have multiple millions of dollars of investment in an anaerobic digester at the Bay City factory that processes the wastewater faster than natural pond processes would do so.
But these odors, you're going to find them at all the plants.
Yes.
Because you're all doing the same thing, right?
That's correct.
Are they all set up the same, the process exactly the same at all the plants?
For the most part, however, Bay City is our most complex and modern and largest capacity factory. It does have the wastewater treatment system, the anaerobic digester, that the others don't. Beyond that, they're pretty well laid out the same.